Lights will be primed in just a few moments' time. As soon as the course car returns, the green flag waved at the back of the grid. The lights go to red and flick to green, and the race is on. The charge down towards the first corner. It looked like a good start for Loris Reggiani on the Aprilia as they dive into the first corner. Well, it was a good start for Loris Reggiani, but it was an even better start for Loris Capirossi, because it's Capirossi that leads around the first series of turns. Loris Capirossi on that distinctive red and white Honda. And already you can see the fierceness of the competition in this 250cc category. Massimiliano Biaggi, Max Biaggi on the Honda in second place, but a runaway start for Loris Capirossi at the front of the field. Doriano Romboni in third position there aboard his Honda. But just look at the pace of Loris Capirossi. He streaked ahead at the front of the field around that long left-hander. The rest of the field in line astern behind him. But a brilliant start for the young Italian former 125cc world champion. There's a rider already suffering problems, a rider already out. But Capirossi is out front, and Loris Reggiani moving up into second position. But it's Capirossi that leads on the number 65 machine. The two Aprilias, in fact, of Capirossi and, I beg your pardon, of Reggiani and Ruggia are in the top five. But it's Loris Capirossi that leads. And he made an absolutely magnificent start. One of the Aprilias was right alongside him as they blasted off the line. But Capirossi, just look at that lead. He's opened out already in less than a lap. Well, less than a lap, in fact. This is the rider's eye view as Doriano Romboni takes us for a high-speed lap of the Assen circuit. And Doriano Romboni in second position. The first lap's completed. The two Aprilias crossed the line almost together. But it's Loris Capirossi that leads. In second place, Doriano Romboni. It looks like Helmut Bradl in third spot. He's come through from the third row of the grid, if that is him. That's Loris Reggiani. In front of him, Jean-Philippe Ruggia. And out of the race has gone Max Biaggi. Well, we spotted, and there's a faller, and that's one of the, in fact, that's Doriano Romboni, the winner of the last two rounds of the championship. Doriano Romboni goes sliding out of the Dutch round. It won't be a hat-trick for Romboni. Romboni and the number 10 bike slide gracefully to the ground, and the race is over for Doriano Romboni. Well, great disappointment for the Italian, who qualified second fastest. His race over on the second lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. Capirossi out front, Helmut Bradl in second place, then Ruggia. And that is the camera still running, but it's propped at the side of the circuit. That's Capirossi in the lead, and he's got a massive lead already in such a short space of time. And Doriano Romboni receiving treatment at the trackside, being taken away. Doriano Romboni, well, that is a sad sight indeed, but the officials very quickly on the scene. They're some of the best in the world here at the Dutch Grand Prix at Assen. Loris Capirossi needs not worry about that, because the young Italian is way out front. Behind him, though, there's a terrific scrap boiling up between the two, between the HB Honda, I think, of Helmut Bradl, and one of the two Aprilias. Yes, that's Helmut Bradl, then Jean-Philippe Ruggia. But Loris Capirossi, so impressive. Tetsuya Harada behind Ruggia, then Loris Reggiani, then it's Wilco Zeelenberg. So Zeelenberg looking like he's had a return to form now. Well, that's what it looks like when you're in the driving seat and your world turns upside down. Doriano Romboni's exit from the Dutch Grand Prix. No points for him after scoring a maximum 50 points in the last 2 rounds of the championship. Jean-Philippe Rougier, Helmut Bradl, Tetsuya Harada, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, followed by Loris Reggiani. Then it's Wilco Zeelenberg. But the man out front is the 2 times world 125 champion, Loris Capirossi. And that's his lead. Terrific performance from Capirossi. That's Jean-Philippe Rougier on the number 17 bike. Managed to get 2 or 3 bike lengths ahead of Helmut Bradl on that distinctive yellow machine. That's Bradl. Bradl running slightly wide there. Right on his tail, Tetsuya Harada, the man who dominated the championship in the early stages. Harada winning 3 of the first 4 Grand Prix and finishing 2nd in the other one. But Jean-Philippe Rougier holding 2nd spot at the moment behind Loris Capirossi. Behind him, it looks like Helmut Bradl is about to come under pressure from the Yamaha of Tetsuya Harada. And there's a faller, 21, that's Paolo Casoli. Well, his race is over. Romboni's race is over. But Jean-Philippe Rougier has everything to play for. Rougier, Bradl, Harada and Reggiani. But that's the race leader, Loris Capirossi. Another lap completed, another lap at the front of the field. You can get some idea of his lead from our aerial camera. And that really is a very significant lead indeed. He obviously had a game plan, and that was to go for it from the early stages, not to get caught up in anything. And 2.5 seconds almost the gap between Loris Capirossi in the lead and Jean-Philippe Rougier. Well, it says P. Rougier, it's actually J.P. Rougier in 2nd place. You can see the enormous crowd here at Assen, traditionally one of the largest crowds of the season, and definitely the biggest crowd of the season so far. There's no doubt about that at all. Meanwhile, the battle raging on for the lower positions. John Kozinski, you saw there just going through your picture. He's picking up places. Disappointed to be only just on that 2nd row of the grid. And that's the scrap between Helmut Bradl and Tetsuya Harada. And Harada looks like he's going to try for the inside line. Harada goes up the inside to take over that 3rd place. So the order now is Capirossi, Rougier, Harada, Bradl and Reggiani. This year, of course, for the first time in many years, no British interest in the 250cc class, but it's still a very hotly contested class indeed. We're riding along with Wilco Zeelenberg. Zeelenberg on the number 11 bike. That's Tetsuya Harada. He's now got Jean-Philippe Rougier in his sights. And by the looks of things, back into the race has gone Max Biaggi. They obviously had a problem on that opening lap. He pulled in, and Max Biaggi now back out there on the track. Well, he's got some work to do if he's to make up his deficit, but all extra practice for the young Italian from Rome on the Rothmans Honda. Capirossi, Rougier, Harada and Bradl. That's the top 4. Reggiani in 5th position. And well, you saw a French flag flying in the distance there. They're urging on Jean-Philippe Rougier aboard that Aprilia. A terrific rider to watch, very spectacular. And there's another rider out, 22, that's Luis Carlos Morel, trudging his way disconsolately back to the paddock through the Assen countryside. His race is run. And Harada inching ever closer to Jean-Philippe Rougier. The Yamaha man has the Aprilia rider in his sights. And I don't think that Capirossi is pulling out any further of a lead. In fact, Rougier might be slightly closer than he was before. It's always very difficult when you're out on your own to know exactly how to pace it, but he'll be getting good signals from his team. 35 in problems also. But back out onto the track, that's Luc Baudelaire. Baudelaire in the 250cc class. He has been riding 125s, but he's the local hero. Meanwhile, Harada on the Yamaha. Yamaha's European operation, of course, based in Holland. But Harada has Rugia well and truly in his sights. And Biaggi has finally decided to call it a day. Welcome back to Assen and the Dutch Grand Prix, the 7th round of the 250cc World Championship. And it's still Loris Capirossi out front with a 5.2 second advantage over the Japanese World Championship leader Tetsuya Harada. Harada at the moment holding his own in that battle with Jean-Philippe Rugia, 4-second spot. Helmut Bradl, well, maybe he's conserved some of his energy in that 4th position. He hasn't been involved in the scrap. It looks like Jean-Philippe Rugia might have developed a few handling problems. That's Harada. Rugia on the number 17 bike and Helmut Bradl on the yellow HB Honda in 4th spot. But the problem for Helmut Bradl in just a few laps is going to be John Kosinski on the Suzuki, because Kosinski has been reeling him in lap after lap. He's made up an awful lot of ground. He's got a little bit of work still to do, but he's now got Helmut Bradl in his sights. He's closing on him every lap, and John Kosinski will be in that scrap for 2nd place before too long. Helmut Bradl on the HB Honda. He stayed out of that scrap for 2nd place. That's probably a wise decision. Helmut Bradl, 31 years of age, 7 times a Grand Prix winner, but never a world champion. Well, not yet. He was 2nd in the title chase in 1991. And he's currently in 3rd place in the championship, but some 36 points, in fact 46 points behind the championship leader Tetsuya Harada. Now, the scrap for 2nd place with 5 laps to go. Tetsuya Harada, Jean-Philippe Rugia, Helmut Bradl, and coming up to join them, John Kosinski. Now there is Kosinski. You can see how much closer he is this time around. The crowd have been waving him on, cheering him every inch of the way, urging him to get into the scrap. They've also had something to cheer about with Wilco Zeelenberg in the following group. Now, Kosinski right on the tail now, and he's set the fastest lap of the race so far. 2:07.005. Well, that's half a second quicker than his best practice lap, so Kosinski's pulling out all the stops, and John Kosinski has the power wound on. He's in 5th place at the moment, but you get the feeling that he's not done with yet. He's made up so much ground in order to be in a position where he's ready to challenge Helmut Bradl in that 4th place. And I reckon there might be a bit left yet. John Kosinski needs the points. He doesn't like being only 4th in the World Championship. And he goes through to take Bradl, so he's now in 4th place in the race. John Kosinski, a terrific thrust through the field from behind. It looks like they've finally got the Suzuki well and truly on song, and the Lucky Strike Suzuki man is up into 4th position. Next man in his sights is going to be Tetsuya Harada aboard the Yamaha. So we've now got 4 different makes of bike in the top 4 in this race. The Honda of Loris Capirossi leads, the Aprilia of Jean-Philippe Rugia in 2nd place. Yamaha's Tetsuya Harada is 3rd, and in 4th spot the Suzuki of John Kosinski, and there are only 4 laps of this race to go now. So Korzynski looking towards moving up into third place, and that's exactly what he does. A super maneuver, unhurried, nothing spectacular, just moving up past Tetsuya Harada. Harada wouldn't have been expecting it. And John Korzynski now in third spot, a terrific ride. And Korzynski definitely looking the fastest man out there on the circuit. And through into second place goes John Korzynski. A brilliant maneuver right through on the inside. Another fastest lap, 2:06.951. He's improved considerably on his practice time now, 0.6 of a second quicker. Now, has he got the power, the skill, the ability and the will to close that gap that's been established by the race leader? Well, he's 5 seconds in the lead out front, Loris Capirossi. So I suspect that that is probably the limit of John Korzynski's progress. He's certainly got the ability, but whether he thinks it's worthwhile is anybody's guess. It's the Lucky Strike Suzuki in second place. John Korzynski in second. Jean-Philippe Rougier is third. Tetsuya Harada fourth, and Helmut Bradl in fifth spot. Now you could see there, just disappearing from the corner of your picture, was Loris Capirossi. And John Korzynski is maintaining this very fast pace. He's trying to pull away from Jean-Philippe Rougier in third spot, and in fact he's doing that now. Has he got enough time left to challenge Loris Capirossi, the race leader? Well, what a brilliant ride from the brash young American rider, world champion in 1990. 3 laps to go. 0.69, well that refers to his lap time. There's a back marker that he'll have had in his targets. 61 is Rudy Marink, one of the wild card riders from the Netherlands. Well, in fact, Loris Capirossi is an awful long way out in front. Well, that'll do John Korzynski no end of good, because it means that with a slower rider getting in between him and his pursuers, he doesn't have to worry about them coming past him. He can just concentrate fully on trying to close the gap with Loris Capirossi, the race leader. It's a very tall order indeed. He's 5 seconds out front. But if anybody can do it, John Korzynski can, because just look at the lead that he's pulled out now over the third place man, Jean-Philippe Rougier. Rougier coming under pressure again from his pursuer, Tetsuya Harada. Bradl still in that safe fourth place. Behind them, there's still a scrap going on involving Wilco Zeelenberg. 19, John Korzynski on that Lucky Strike Suzuki. Well, it's certainly been an eventful Dutch Grand Prix as far as Korzynski is concerned. He had to come from behind, but he's forced his way through the field with some of that real Arkansas fire. And the Lucky Strike Suzuki absolutely flying here. The fastest lap of the race so far. The crowd have loved it. But I think that's an end to John Korzynski's progress through the field. 20 points for that second place is probably the best that he can hope for. The race leader and the man who looks like he's destined for 25 championship points again is Tetsuya Harada. Tetsuya Harada heading, I beg your pardon, is Loris Capirossi. Tetsuya Harada at the moment in fourth place. Capirossi with 2 laps to go is just a couple of laps away from what looks set to be his first 250cc Grand Prix victory. Meanwhile, a scrap for third spot doesn't look to be over. Tetsuya Harada wants to finish ahead of Jean-Philippe Rougier if he possibly can. Loris Capirossi leading with a 5-second advantage over John Korzynski. Local hero Wilco Wilco Zeelenberg is holding sway in his scrap with Loris Reggiani and Pier Francesco Chili, the Dutchman holding out on the two Italians. Now we're back with the scrap for third place. And Korzynski looks like he's given up the battle or the effort to try and catch Loris Capirossi. And Korzynski looks as if he might have slowed, because Tetsuya Harada, who's moved up to third place, is closer again to John Korzynski than he was before. It's still Capirossi, Korzynski, Harada and Ruggia, the top four. That's Harada, the World Championship leader, who looks set to extend his lead at the top of the table. And Harada's definitely pulled out all the stops in the last couple of laps, because Harada's right on John Korzynski's tail. And it looked at one point as if Korzynski had broken clear. Korzynski may have slowed, may have lost his rhythm a bit when he realised that he couldn't catch Loris Capirossi. And there is Loris Capirossi, double World 125 champion, and just a lap away now from what could well be his first 250cc Grand Prix win. Korzynski still under pressure from Tetsuya Harada in second and third places. Jean-Philippe Ruggia holding on to that fourth spot. Oh, and through on the inside goes Harada. Absolutely superb stuff. Capirossi on his last 3.75 mile circuit of the Assen track. He just has to negotiate the curves of Assen one more time. Now Harada, well, it looks like it's going to be Harada that takes that second place, unless Korzynski's hit trouble in the last couple of laps. It looks like he might have just relaxed too much when he realised he couldn't catch Loris Capirossi. The race leader, Capirossi's dominated the proceedings, led the race from start to finish. Loris Capirossi, my memory serves me correctly, was poised to win a race earlier this season, but fell off at the last gasp, and Korzynski's up into second place again, but it's still not decided. Korzynski's decided he wants the 20 World Championship points, so does Harada. It's going to be a fight to the finish between these two. We've seen people come to grief at the final chicane before. Korzynski clinging on to second at the moment. Harada right on his tail. Can Harada get the drive out of the corner? Korzynski looks over his shoulder, he looks the wrong side, and through goes Harada. Another brilliant overtaking manoeuvre. Korzynski takes another look over his shoulder, and I think that might well mean that Korzynski's settled for second spot. Well, if Harada wants it that much, he says he can have it. Through the final chicane, 25 World Championship points. The checkered flag for Loris Capirossi. Capirossi, his first 250cc Grand Prix win. Harada is second. Korzynski is third. In fourth place, it's Jean-Philippe Ruggia. In fifth spot, Helmut Bradl. And by the roar of the crowd, it sounds like Loris Reggiani finished behind Wilco Zeelenberg. Delight in the Capirossi camp. They're absolutely thrilled with their first win for Loris Capirossi in the 250cc category. An absolutely brilliant ride from him. He did it perfectly and led from start to finish to win the Dutch Grand Prix. Loris Capirossi pops the front wheel up, a little celebration wheelie as Jürgen van der Gorberg crosses the line with the cheers of the crowd, saluting their local hero, but the hero of the race, well, draped in the Italian flag. Loris Reggiani just giving the thumbs up to his compatriot, but it's Capirossi who has done everything absolutely perfectly in this Dutch Grand Prix. He got a superb start. He made the break right at the outset of this race, and the young Italian, such a precocious talent in the 125cc category, and still, remember, only 20 years of age. A double world champion, has won his first 250cc Grand Prix, and he receives the acclaim of the Assen crowd. Loris Capirossi, with his habitual number 65, he's made up for the disappointment of dropping a couple of places in the 250cc World Championship standings by winning this Dutch Grand Prix in perfect style. Wins don't come any better than that. So confirmation of the result. Capirossi from Harada, 3.9 seconds the gap. Kaczynski, Rugia, Bradl and Reggiani. Well, Reggiani just obviously pipping Wilco Zeelenberg there for that sixth spot. Then it's Pier Francesco Chili, Alberto Puig, Aoki, Dantan and Bossard, Preining, Suter and Jürgen van der Gorberg. Well, the cheers there, we saw him cross the line, was because he picked up a championship point. Jean-Michel Bayle continuing his initiation into the rights of 250cc road racing. Remember, Bayle, the former world motocross champion. But the hero of the day, without any doubt at all, is Loris Capirossi. The starting sequence begins. 16 laps of 125cc racing starts now. They paddle away to get the best start that they possibly can. And these 125cc machines buzz into the first series of corners. Everybody jockeying for position, trying to make the break. That looks like it might be number 11, Peter Oertel. We've got a good start from the second row of the grid. 1, 2, 3, half a dozen riders down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least go down. An almighty pile-up. Oh dear, all seemingly up on their feet, but there are bikes and people all over the place. Oh, what a disaster. Now, I don't know quite who was involved in that. Certainly Oliver Koch, number 14, was. Let's just have a look at it all again. See if we can tell who's the first to go. Well, there's a collision there. 24, that looks like that's one of the Aokis, Haruchinga Aoki. 65 also there, Gabriella Debbia. So Debbia involved, Aoki involved. I'm not sure about Oliver Koch. It could have been me getting mixed up 24 for 14, but, well, drama already before the race is a lap old. Now that looks to me like Sakata and Tsujimura battling it out again, and indeed it is, and that's Tsujimura going through into the lead. Tsujimura leads. He won in Austria. Sakata in second place. Oertel it is that's in third. But it's the two Japanese out front at the moment. Waldman is there in fifth position. Takeshi Tsujimura leads. Kazuto Sakata in second place, and the scene looks as if it's set for another epic battle in the 125cc category. Ezio Gianola in third place at the moment, but it's Takeshi Tsujimura that leads. Sakata in second place, Gianola moving up into second spot. Through the chicane for the first time, one lap completed, and it's Takeshi Tsujimura that leads. Ezio Gianola in second place. Third is Kazuto Sakata. Slow motion of that incident in the first series of corners. There was a coming together that shot the bike of Haruchika Aoki across the path of the following traffic, and all sorts of mayhem resulting. Meanwhile, what a battle for the lead between the two Japanese, and it's Sakata that's gone out front. Sakata leads, and Takeshi Tsujimura dropping back a lot of places there. I don't know whether there was a clash of some description, but he lost a lot of speed all of a sudden, and that has given Kazuto Sakata the opportunity to streak off into the distance. In second place now is Peter Oertel, number 11. if I'm not very much mistaken. Takeshi Sugimura back up into third spot. Well, it's all happening in the early stages of this Dutch 125 Grand Prix. That's Kazuto Sakata. But he's leading, there is no doubt. Sugimura in second place. That's in fact Mike Steiff on the number 23 bike in third position. Well, a few unexpected names taking advantage of that early, the colouring very similar between Steiff and Oertel, teammates of course. In Team Aprilia Deutschland, well, there is a lot of expensive machinery all lined up. Too. Fausto Grassini looks as if he was involved in that incident early on. Kazuto Sakata wasn't, and he leads. Neither was Takeshi Sugimura, and he's in second place. Well, Sakata disappointed in his qualifying time. Ezio Ginola in third place ahead of 23 Mike Steiff. Kazuto Sakata, as I said, bears number 8, and he qualified 8th in practice and was far from happy. 23 Mike Steiff, 3 is Ralf Waldmann, 20 Manfred Baumann. Welcome back live to the Dutch Grand Prix at Assen. Well, Kazuto Sakata certainly doesn't believe in doing things the easy way. And just look, oh, terrific battle for second place there between Takeshi Sugimura and Noboru Ueda, and they came together there through the chicane. Neither was willing to give a centimetre of ground, and Ueda is the man that has lost out after that close encounter, rather too close encounter. But I was about to tell you about Sakata, that as we look at that again in slow motion, there's just not room for him to go through. I don't know whether the two actually touch, but it must have been mighty, mighty close as they went through the chicane. Ueda very lucky to stay aboard his machine after that. While we were away in the break, Sakata, believe it or not, was on the grass again. He was up into second place, he ran wide yet again on the grass, and he dropped back to fourth place. Then Ueda had his problem, so Sakata is back up to third place. Meanwhile, still out front in the lead is Dirk Rowdies. However, down the field, things are much more exciting to watch. Terrific action, as is usually the case in these 125cc races. As we look at the helicopter shot, another change of second place, and it's that man again, Kazuto Sakata. Now he's got it all to do all over again. He's back up into second place. He's been on the grass twice, remember, once early on and again more recently. So we'll just have a look at that again, and that was where he ran wide, and that's Sakata on the grass for the second time in the race. Absolutely incredible, but he's trying so hard. He was trying so desperately to make up ground on the race leader, Dirk Rowdies. You see him in the foreground of your picture there. We're back with the action live now. Dirk Rowdies, meanwhile, out on his own, in a class of his own. Today, everything perfectly set up for this Dutch Grand Prix track at Assen. Now, Sakata makes another move. Doesn't do him any good. He's still in fifth spot. Sugimura second. Baumann, Ueda, and then Sakata, down goes Ueda. Oh dear, a disappointment then for Noboru Ueda, who goes sliding out, trying just a bit too hard. Oh, and he's furious with himself, doing his little song and dance act, absolutely furious with himself, just trying a bit too hard and paying the penalty. Noboru Ueda out of the running for second spot. How's that affected the rest of the field? He has waved to the crowd. He's provided them with a bit of extra entertainment. It's Takeshi Sugimura in second spot, ahead of Manfred Baumann now. Is Baumann going to get on the rostrum for the first time? Is he going to finish second? Are they going to take each other out? Any of these is possible. The only thing that's unlikely is it's unlikely that either of these two are going to win, because Dirk Rowdies is way out front. Through the chicane again. Baumann in second, Sugimura in third. Sakata is in fourth place now. Sakata still wants that second spot. Let's just have a look at that Ueda crash again in slow motion. Well, this time it's the rear end that breaks away. Grips suddenly, and off goes Noboru Ueda. His chances of 20 World Championship points well and truly gone, but he has a chance to shake hands with the members of the crowd as he goes by. We're on the last lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. Just less than 3 miles now between one of these men and 20 championship points. It looks like it could be Manfred Baumann, another prodigious talent who's just suddenly appeared this year. He's got a very fast motorcycle. The Austrian, well, the Austrians haven't had too much to shout about in recent years. But the Austrian Manfred Baumann could be heading for a big upset and 20 World Championship points. But the battle is still not over, because Kazuto Sakata still wants those 20 World Championship points. It's Sakata that's in second place at the moment. What an excellent overtaking manoeuvre that was. But his teammate's trying to go around the outside. His teammate does go around the outside. Sugimura in second at the moment. Sakata retakes that second spot, but his teammate's got the inside line. It's Sakata in third spot. Sakata runs wide. It's Sugimura in second place. The battle for second spot is still not over. Dirk Rowdies it is, who's still way out front, miles out front. But, oh, and there's a faller. That's Manfred Baumann, I think, who's crashed out. Or was it Rowdies? No, indeed it wasn't. I'm sorry for the confusion there. I couldn't quite catch who it was that went down there. The race leader, though, the race winner, 25 World Championship points, yet another Grand Prix win, the 6th of his career, goes to Dirk Rowdies. Kazuto Sakata takes, well, I'm not too sure whether that was Sakata or Sugimura that took second place. We'll tell in a minute. And that may well have been Sakata that crashed out. There's Rowdies, stopping, as is becoming traditional, to pick up the flag. Dirk Rowdies definitely the winner. Manfred Baumann is still there, that's for sure. So I think Baumann finished third, first time on the rostrum for him. That's Mike Steiff. And in fact it was somebody further down the field that crashed out. Number 12, that's Harry Torantegui. That went down, crashing out of the race. Well, drama on the first lap, drama on the final lap of this Dutch Grand Prix. But what we haven't quite got yet is the confirmation of the result. We are following the leader through. We're not too sure who it was that finished in second position. I apologise for the confusion. But another Grand Prix victory for Dirk Rowdies, the 6th of his career, the 5th of the 1993 season, which puts him firmly in the driving seat. Well, it looked like then Sugimura crashed out as well on that final lap. Sugimura out, so Kazuto Sakata must have taken that second spot, so therefore Sakata is still just in the lead of the World Championship. But I make the gap now 4 points at the top of the table. I must apologise for the confusion, but we haven't had confirmation yet of the results of this 125cc Dutch Grand Prix. However, what isn't in doubt is that it was a brilliant victory for Dirk Rowdies aboard his Team Europa Rowdies Honda, his RS125. That's the crowd acknowledging the performance of Hans Spahn, aboard his 125cc Honda. Well, there indeed is Sugimura crashing out. Sugimura crashes out, so second place goes to Kazuto Sakata and third spot to Manfred Baumann. The 1, 2, 3 then in the Dutch Grand Prix. Dirk Rouders, Kazuto Sakata and Manfred Baumann. Incident-packed from start to finish. A crash on the first corner, a crash on virtually the last corner of this race. An action-packed Dutch Grand Prix. Join us in a week's time for action from the European Grand Prix at the Catalunya circuit.